Hello and welcome to Bridging the Gap. I'm your host, Ty Johnson, and we're so glad that you have joined us today. Today, our guest is Patty Bulak, who is a program manager with the West Park Cultural Center. Is that correct?
That's it.
Patty, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Let's delve right into it.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your organization.
West Park Cultural Center is an arts-based nonprofit that operates in the Parkside neighborhood, which is the area that I like to say is near the zoo, because people seem to know that location well. And we provide arts and culture programming for children and adults. We have after-school programming at the High School of the Future, and also we provide some arts activities during the school day as well. And we also have a summer camp at the Horticultural Center.
Wow, interesting. Now, as a program manager, do you oversee the day-to-day operations of what goes on at the center? Or?
I provide some of the planning and oversight, yes.
Now, you named 3 programs. Could you kind of backtrack that first program that you said that you have is called?
We have after-school arts classes at the High School of the Future that are open to the community. We have ceramics classes and instrumental music.
The after-school program, that's open to all of the public?
Yes.
So someone like myself could just walk in and sign up, or how does that work?
Well, it's actually for youth, although our ceramics class, we have had some adults come, especially parents of children and other adults in the neighborhood who are interested in ceramics have come and joined us.
Now, when they come in and the kids sign up,
Yes.
what type of projects might they be working on? What would you expect to see?
Our teacher, Janice Mirandino, is very skilled at breaking down the skills needed in ceramics into smaller projects. And she's also really good at speaking about it from the point of view of science and engineering and math. So we look at it as a very hands-on way to get into academics as well as art.
Oh, so it's an arts and you do some academic stuff. Wow.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Science, technology,
Yeah.
engineering,
Yes.
math, those kind of, all the subjects that I did not do well in college or high school, for that
Right.
matter.
And it's a lot of fun on top of that. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, the students who might come into the center, are they generally just kids from the neighborhood, or how do you do your recruiting process?
We start at the school first, because our mission is to really provide classes like that for the students. And then we go out into the community and look for children and youth nearby.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
So it's always, I guess, a full roster every year when you have your programs, or do you have a law where it's not enough kids? You know, because you hear some people complain about their programs don't have enough kids involved.
Right. We do like to keep inviting students to join us. Sometimes it goes up and down, but we have had a steady group of students that have participated, especially in the music program, which is basically a rock band, which is a lot of fun.
Okay.
And also we have music production where students are able to bring in the beats that they make, because a lot of kids are doing that now, and bring in the raps that they're writing and do some recording.
Now, you guys have instruments on site? Is that?
We do have instruments that are used on site. We'd love to find people that would be willing to donate more to us, so that if we could start a lending program, we would.
Wow.
We don't have that yet, so we're always looking for other community members and organizations who want to help us.
I want to get to that in just a second, but I
Yes.
want to backtrack.
Yeah, sure.
I forgot to ask something that was probably very important to our audience.
Yes.
How did you get involved in the West Park Cultural Center? Did you wake up one day and say, hey, I want to go work for them, or did you hear about it through a friend? How did you get involved in this work?
Well, I have 6 children, ages 29 to 13 at this point, and they're all in the performing arts. So my oldest is a hip-hop dancer,
Wow.
choreographer, music producer, and he was part of a dance company called Chosen Dance Company. That artistic director was teaching hip-hop dance for Betty, the executive director for West Park, after school. And he heard that she needed a program coordinator at that time and introduced her to me, and so that's how it all started.
Wow. So through your kids?
Yes, exactly.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. So after you got involved in the center and you became the program coordinator, eventually you moved up and became program manager.
Yes.
So this work for you, I guess, is personally rewarding because your kids have benefited from this program.
Yes, and I homeschooled them, so I have a lot of passion and drive about literacy and education and how the arts plays its role in all of that. And so it's been really fun to have the freedom to build programming around that.
Now, we hear so much in the news that a lot of art and crafts type programs are being cut, especially in the school district of Philadelphia. So a lot of kids who may be artistic don't get a chance to express themselves because the programs are cut, they don't have proper instruments, et cetera.
Right.
So being involved in this work that you're involved in, do you see those children who graduate from your program or who graduate and go on to the next grade level, is their interest sparked so that even after the program's over, they continue to work on their craft or whatever particular art they may be involved in?
Actually, we're very proud of our graduates. One in particular is named Ishmael Abdul Salam, and he was studying guitar with us, and now he's making a living doing that.
Wow.
And he's come back to become a board member for us and a very passionate volunteer with us. And actually the band that he's part of called Amari Rebel and the Movement came and performed at our Arts Festival, which is the other important work that we do. We have an annual arts festival that takes place at the High School of the Future.
Now, the High School of the Future, is that, I think I've passed by it, it's like kind of sits back off the main strip, but it's in the park, is that correct?
Right, it's right on the edge of the park at Parkside and Girard Avenues.
Right, I've seen it before, very modern looking building.
Yes, yes.
Now, your annual festival, what does that consist of? Do you have different bands come out, and who sponsors that?
Well, we work hard to find our sponsors for that, and we always need more. It's always a problem in terms of being able to support all the wonderful things that we do bring. We have 3 performance areas, an outdoor stage that hosts our bands. Last year we had over 12 bands performing, and
wow.
We had Dante, whose Questlove's sister was our headliner. She came and did a wonderful job. And then on our dance stage, we had about 17 acts that were multicultural and very skilled from all over the city come. And we've found that artists are very generous with their time when they know that they're contributing to something that highlights youth and their progress in the arts.
You might want to throw a little plug in because you said you're always looking for sponsors.
Yes.
If somebody, what's your website address so for those who are watching?
It's www.westparkcultural.org.
Okay. I hope everybody got that. Is there a phone number if they wanted to call?
Yes, there is. It's, let me just remind myself, it's 215-473-7810.
Okay, so if somebody wants to donate their time or
Yes.
funds or what have you, they
Right.
can call that number or go on that website and
Right.
find them. So I know you said you're always looking for sponsors and doing innovative things
Yes.
with your dance groups and your bands and so forth. Is that festival open to the public? Do people come from all over, or how is that?
Yes, people come from all over, and we are always working to promote it further to get more people to come. We have vendors, arts and crafts. We have children's activities. We had a children's pavilion. All of our partners in the park are part of it as well. Police Touch Museum is there. The zoo is there. We have a historical trolley tour, which is wonderful. That goes up through the park. Was very well attended last year. Goes through past the Belmont Mansion and other sites inside the park because we feel it's important to connect the community with what's in the park.
Right.
And so it's a historical tour where the guide gives information about the area and the different sites that it drives by.
Now, this is my own little cheap plug kind of
Yeah.
thing. Your program, because you are providing a real needed service for students, I would imagine it's also a safe haven for students. They can come there,
Right.
they can express themselves artistically, and
Right.
don't have to worry about being bullied or some of the other things that may happen
Exactly.
in a school situation. So would you say that the center is also a safe haven for kids to come and just have a good time
Oh yes,
and have a
definitely.
lot of fun?
Yes, definitely.
I wish when I was growing up I'd been a part of a program like yours, but that sounds remarkable. Now, the students who come, what are the age ranges?
In the ceramics class, we can take from the ages of 7 up through adult.
Wow.
And the teacher is expert at doing that mix of ages and keeping everyone engaged. There are 4 potter's wheels and a kiln and a beautiful art room within the school. And we have been able to provide access to that equipment when the school hasn't been able to. We've been able to bring in the outside expertise to make sure that those pieces of equipment get used. And at the festival is when we like to present what the work is that people have been able to do.
That's
And
great.
yeah, and we like to look at the festival as a chance for youth from anywhere to highlight what they know what to do, what they've been working on
Right.
performance-wise, yeah.
That sounds outstanding.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, I guess when you go to work, you don't really feel like you're going to work.
Right.
Yeah. You,
Yeah.
you go there and just have a great time interacting with the students. I mean, I
Right.
know you have to do programmatic stuff too, but
Yeah.
it sounds like your workplace is a place that's also fun.
Yes, yes.
So would you describe the center as a place where people can come and just have fun? They don't have to be extremely gifted,
No.
but just come there just to have fun and to
And an
explore.
interest, yeah, and explore and do it with each other. And we do have excellent teachers who are professionals. We don't hire people that aren't already actually working in their
that.
field, yeah. Mhm.
Is there an acting component involved in it? Or?
We have had theater before, after school. Right now, we provide it in the classroom. Every year it's different in terms of what the administration at the school allows, but we like to be in the English classrooms with actors to help the students in those classrooms connect with their readings.
Wow. Well, thank you. That's amazing, and I want to congratulate you for the work that you're doing and continued success.
Thank
and
you.
I just wish your message could get out to more people about what you're doing. Maybe you guys need to look Will Smith up and see if he's
We would love
available
that.
as a sponsor.
Yes, we love that.
Well, thank you, Patty, and
Thank you.
please stay tuned. Stay right where you are. We'll be right back.
In LaSalle University's Communication Department, students learn to think and do.
Every semester, communication students create and implement public relations plans for local nonprofit organizations.
And journalism students produce Germantown Beat, an online news source for the local community.
It's great that we can apply what we learn in the classroom in our community.
Philadelphia is the nation's 4th largest media market and has 4 major sports teams.
Being in a major media market allows us to gain great professional experience through internships and co-ops.
The Communication Center is home to the university's cable station.
LaSalle TV reaches over 350,000 homes in Philadelphia and airs mostly student-produced programming.
Our communication department is ranked in the top 10 in North America for relational communication research.
But keeping with the tradition of the De La Salle Christian Brothers, teaching students comes first.
Think, do with LaSalle Communication. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter.
Hello and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. I'm your host, Ty Johnson, and we have another member of the West Park Cultural Center with us today, Mike Birch, who is a volunteer and a board member at West Park. Mike, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, Mike, we're going to jump right into it. Patty gave us a lot of programmatic stuff that goes on, and a very interesting discussion. I wanted to kind of continue there and to segue into another discussion as well. First of all, I wanted to ask, how did you get involved in West Park? What led you to where you are now?
What led me to the area? It's an interesting question. From my background, it's not really the arts at all. My background comes primarily from the sciences. Mm-hmm. I run a program myself at the Franklin Institute.
Okay.
Also dealing with youth. but I really have come to appreciate the arts and have always been that way. So I came late to West Park Cultural Center by finding the arts festival that they do every year. So I sort of stumbled on to that. And it's like a quiet gem inside of Parkside. And from that point on, I think I was hooked.
Wow, amazing. So how long have you been on the board?
I'm a new board member, so I've only been on the board about a year, but I've been helping out and contributing what expertise I might have for about 3 years now.
That's great. That's great. Well, now, Mike, your work with the center, of course, you're a board member and a volunteer. You were a volunteer, I would assume, before you became a board member. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So your volunteer work there, how did that? Did you just walk in one day and say, I want to volunteer, or did you hear about the program and get to learn about it and say, hey, I think I'd like to, donate some of my time and expertise? How did that?
Well, again, I have to go back to the West Park Arts Festival. The day I saw the Arts Festival in Parkside, I went into the building and I sought out whoever was in charge of this. So I met the founder, Betty Lindley, and upon some discussions with her, I was like, listen, this is great to be going on in this community, and how can I help?
Wow.
And from that point on, we've had a great working relationship. I soon met Patty, and the rest is history.
Wow. Now, as a working board member and as a volunteer, we were talking about all the things that you guys are involved in, the annual festival and some of the other programs. From the standpoint of families or youth or adults, what does the center provide that you would say is uniquely West Park? Or everybody has their own brand or their own stamp. What would you say is uniquely different about the center that you've come to enjoy?
The unique difference, outside of all the other wonderful things they do, of bringing academics and arts to this community, which is sorely needed, is the West Park Arts Festival. And if you haven't seen it, you got to come next year, because it's a wonderful day in the park at the School of the Future that involves multitudes of various demographics of people who come to this event. And the whole background of this event is about culture and multiculturalism. And I think that's just a wonderful experience for people to have.
Now, the annual festival, when is that held?
It's always in June.
Okay.
It's June 8th or June 9th, depending on when it's the first Saturday.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to put it on my calendar to attend next year. I'll get information off of your website.
I'll call you.
Okay. Well, that always works. Yeah. But how do you describe what the program is to somebody who might be viewing this program and says, "Wow, that sounds like something I might want to get involved," or "How do I get my children involved in this particular program?" What would you say to that person?
Oh, I would definitely say first go to the website and check out the various programs that are going on in the website. Then I would suggest that you actually come out to one of the evening events when they're running various programs. The programs are run generally in the Parkside area, because we're trying to reach people from that community to come out and be exposed to the various arts programs. But again, there's the technical programs of what people can get the GED training and actually get their GED, trained to get their GED, and computer training, which again, when we're looking at a community that needs these types of skills as we go forward.
But has there been anyone, to your knowledge, who's like yourself, went to the festival, saw what was going on, and said, "Hey, I want to get involved," or "Hey, I want to volunteer," or "Hey, I want to bring my kids"? Have you seen that experience?
No, absolutely. One of the things that I try to do is, because I actually live in the community also, is try to get other community members and other community residents to come out and embrace these types of activities. And so we really make a real push for that. And I think we've been successful at it.
That's great.
Year after year, I think the numbers are growing.
That's good. So when I come to the festival, what might I expect other than to see, performance from different bands or?
Well, you're going to see many different performances from many different bands throughout the day. We have several stages that are going on. We have activities going on inside the School of the Future. You're going to see various booths where people will be selling unique goods that people in the inner city may not find everywhere.
Okay.
You're going to find various food vendors that are going to be there, which is always good.
Oh man, now you just hit a chord there.
Which is always good, and we always highlight community groups and activities and bands. So you'll see some unique things that the people in the community themselves are doing.
Wow. Well, you got me when you said
You
the
hooked?
food part. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
all
hooked.
right, good.
I'm hooked now. Now, as a board member, I was talking with Patty earlier and saying that, I know when you have a cultural center like that, it's always funding that you're trying to get. You're trying to find new sponsors, new funding. Have you found that to be a challenge as a board member to bring on additional funding and so forth?
Absolutely. I mean, look at the climate today. So that's always going to be a challenge. It's particularly looking at in the arts. People, unfortunately, there may be people out there who don't see that as important as other avenues or other aspects, but it is important, particularly to young people. And I can say this because like I deal particularly in science all the time, and I know science is going to reach every single kid.
Right.
And there are other aspects and other things that can carry people forward. And this is one way to do that.
So what would you say to somebody who might be viewing this program and says, hey, my church or the community organization that they may belong to wants to get involved? Would you encourage that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody has a new piece to offer. And they may not know what that is, because I certainly didn't know what it was. But once you get involved, once you talk to people, once you sit in at one of our meetings or come to one of our evening events or one of our events, you'll figure it out.
Now,
and we will too.
I have a little advantage over some of our viewers because I was actually on your website earlier and I saw some of the student portfolios. Some of the students were doing ceramics and some of the other
Right.
things. I guess what has been your proudest moment when you look at the actual students who benefit from the program?
For me, probably the music program. Patty alluded to Ishmael,
Right.
one of the star students. He's good. He's really good.
If he's making a living at it, he's very good.
Yeah, and that's tough. So I look at him and others like him, and I want to know. I look forward to seeing where they're going, because I think they're going places.
Now, she mentioned also about the aspect of the academic piece. Have you seen some of the students who attend the center perhaps progress academically as a result of the program, after-school programs?
Well, I have seen students progress, but I have to say I have not seen where that has gone yet. I have not seen where that has gone yet.
But they have a bright future in front of them.
Yeah, we all know that we're living in a more and more technological society. There are skills that we're going to need. Arts is part of it, but the technology is another part. And we've got to get that. And we need to get our young people to understand that.
Well, that's a good mixture that you guys at the Cultural Center seem to have. You seem to have a good balance of both arts and academics. And both are important, I think, for the growth of young people as human beings. So I would say to you, Mike, the program, 10 years from now, will you still be involved? I mean, do you see yourself as, is this a long-term commitment that you've made to the Cultural Center?
I would like to say yes. If I'm still a resident of Parkside, I can't see not being involved. It's that kind of good feeling.
And see, what you're passionate about, I guess, I said to Patty, when she goes to work, she doesn't feel like she's going to work. When you go to a board meeting or when you volunteer your various skills, I guess you don't really feel like it's work, because you're making a direct contribution to someone's life whose future may be shaped as a result of the work that you're doing.
Absolutely, and for me, I'm actually doing something for the children in my community directly.
Right.
Then, yeah, that's a really, really good feeling.
Now, are you from Philadelphia area?
I'm from that area. I grew up in that
Born and
area.
raised. Wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
So you would be one who would shout to the rooftop that the Cultural Center, the West Park in particular, is a program that everyone should be involved in some way or fashion.
I would.
Now, having said that, I always ask this question of people. If you could say one thing to a viewer who is sort of like on the fence, I don't know if I want to get involved, I'm not sure, what appeal would you make to them to say that, hey, look, this is something that you want to get committed to because we help children directly and you're going to benefit from it as well?
Well, I would probably say I don't understand why you're on the fence. It's kind of like a no-brainer. We have to do something with these young people. We have to train them. We have to give them the skills and the background that they're going to need to become quality adults. Programs like this make that happen.
Wow.
It's a no-brainer. You got to get involved.
That's great. Now, as a lifelong resident of Philadelphia, Mike, it's good to see you involved with the youth, not only because you work at the Franklin Center, Franklin Institute, but you're also doing this as sort of like a sidebar. That must mean that you're really, really committed to the young people of the city.
Yes, thank you. And it means that obviously I can't get enough.
Well, you keep it up and keep up the good work. I mean that sincerely because I consider people like you and Patty unsung heroes. And thank you for being on the show. Again, I'm your host, Todd Johnson. When one's on the right, another's on the left. When we reach towards the middle, we begin to bridge the gap. Until next time, love somebody and be nice to everybody. Bye for now.